Hello, welcome guys, let's go part 2 of this novel. In the midst of the fog of the dark forest, Jumana walked behind her father, lowering her head. He did not speak to her the entire way, remaining silent as she walked behind him until they reached a round-shaped lake situated within the dark forest. The place was engulfed in pitch darkness, but as Jabbar touched the water with the tip of his finger, a magical yellow light emerged from the depths of the lake, illuminating the area. Do you remember this lake? Yes, it's the lake you used to take us to, she continued in a sad voice as if the memory pained her. My brother and I had legends when we were young. And where is he now? Jumana did not know the real reason behind her brother's disappearance. They always told her that he left without telling her why or where, and they constantly urged her to forget him. At first, she struggled immensely to cope with his absence until she eventually learned to live with it. However, she never forgot him for a single moment and kept him in her heart, forbidden to forget. A sister cannot stop loving her brother. Jabbar said, "You have grown up now, my daughter, and it is time for you to know the truth. Memories remain buried in their graves until we begin to talk about them. Then they rise to attack our weaknesses." Jabbar knew this well, which is why he decided to tell her the truth, briefly and without delving into details. Your brother loved visiting the dwellings of humans, like you. He got swept away by one of the human witches and dedicated himself to serving her. In that moment, Jumana understood why her mother always tried to prevent her from going to the homes of humans. But there was something she did not yet understand. But what I know is that magic is not forbidden to us. True, but that which practiced black magic. Black magic? It is one of the types of magic prohibited to us, which is why the elders of the family decided to exile him. Jabbar sat down as if that memory had shattered his foundation. Fires were burning in his heart, yet he managed his feelings well, appearing as though he cared for nothing. In truth, no one could comprehend that sorrow might one day visit the heart of someone like Jabbar. He is the great emperor and one of the most powerful jinn, with a reputation that makes even the strongest giants tremble in fear at the sound of his name. But because the girl was her father's secret, Jumana sensed what was brewing in her father's heart. She threw herself into his embrace as if, in that way, she were shielding him from the arrows of sadness with her body. It wasn't long before Jabbar's smile emerged from behind his thick mustache and beard. His daughter was his support, his comfort, and the stick he waved in front of him. Why do you insist on going to the dwellings of humans, my daughter? I have friends there I visit. His eyes widened in surprise. He thought his daughter was like the other fairies her age, who were driven by curiosity to spy on humans, not knowing that things had developed beyond that. However, his daughter reassured him, "But I don't reveal myself to them. I am with them, and no one knows I exist." By nature, she was rebellious and did not recognize anyone's loss, acting according to what she believed was right, not what others deemed appropriate. Yet at the same time, she loved her father dearly and was willing to do whatever it took to remain great in his eyes. Thus, she said, "But if you command me not to go, I will obey your orders." Jabbar could have forbidden her from going, not just as her father but also as the head of the family. He could have done so, but he understood that the first rule of respecting others is respecting his wishes and granting them complete freedom as long as that freedom does not harm others in the family. "I will allow you to go." As soon as she heard him say that, she wrapped her arms around him, buried her face in his thick white beard, and shouted as she pushed his huge body backward, causing him to fall on his back with her. "I love you, Dad." Jabbar laughed loudly. His daughter could shake off the dust of old age with her crazy movements and restore the sparkle of fading youth to him. "But there is a condition." Jumana stood up in front of him, bending her back forward, mimicking the leaders of the jinn when they stand before their father to offer him their respect and obedience. Then she said in a rough voice, imitating the deep tones of their voices, "What is your command, my lord Jabbar?" She looked funny, but he stifled his laughter to make his words seem more serious. "You must adhere to the family law." "Understood. I won't use the firepower in front of humans again so that I don't draw their attention to the fact that I'm a fairy." Then she added, "Are you satisfied with me now? There's another matter." "What is it?" He patted the ground with his large hand and said, "Sit down first." She sat as he asked and listened to him. "Your mother says you don't want to marry." "Please, Dad, I've talked to you about this matter more than once, and you remain single your entire life. Until I meet someone like you, oh moon of moons. Then I'll throw myself at his feet and beg him to marry me." Her father tried not to laugh so as not to spoil the new topic, but he couldn't help it. He laughed until tears wet his eyes. After a moment, taking advantage of her father's good mood, she said, "That human named Matham, what about him? What will happen to him? He saw you, and he must be killed killed. This is crucial for the safety of the family. Please don't let anyone harm him, I beg you. Jabbar almost reminded her of the seriousness of the situation, but she interrupted him by saying, I know that the elephant's tusk is chasing us, and for that, we have been hiding in the dark forest for many years. Good that you haven't forgotten. You've saved me a long explanation. But Matham is not one of our enemies, Dad. I know, but humans gossip, he added to convince her not to be sad when she hears about his execution. What if that human gossips about you and everyone starts spreading news about a fairy appearing in human villages? What if that news reaches the wrong ear and leads our real enemy to us? Why don't we give him the potion of forgetfulness so he forgets what happened? We cannot provide the potion of forgetfulness before getting the approval of the Council of Elders, and I don't want them to know about what you did today, Jumana. I'll ask him to promise me to forget what happened. Jabbar was strict with everyone, but he became more lenient when it came to his daughter. And what makes you confident that he will keep his promise? He nearly died today defending a girl he doesn't know. A man like that I can trust. And what about that girl? I don't think she saw me. She was hiding the whole time. It seems you no longer speak like humans. Your heart has become weak like theirs as well. You taught me that strength is not measured by hurting others, but by how we protect them from harm. True, but I also taught you that the safety of the family is above all else, she shouted. I told you I trust him. She realized her mistake, so she covered her mouth with her hand in a gesture of regret, lowered her head, and whispered, I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to. Jabbar lifted her face with his hand and looked deep into her brown eyes. With the beauty of her eyes, she won his favor. He smiled at her and said, that human will not be harmed. She threw herself into his arms and whispered, that's why I won't marry until I find someone like you. She was sure that if she asked for the moon, he would pick it for her and lay it in her hands, or if she asked for the stars, he would make them into a necklace to wrap around her neck, or if she asked for the night, he would weave her a shawl and lay it like silk over her shoulders. Thus, she did not feel like a princess except in her father's embrace. While in her father's stronghold, she felt that nothing was impossible for her that night. Their conversation went on for a long time, and when sleep overcame her, she dozed off. Jabbar continued to stroke her hair as she slept, and while he was doing so, he heard the soft sound of a large creeping creature approaching him. Then he heard the majestic female voice. Are you still thinking about that matter, my lord? Yes, but I have not made a decision yet. The owner of that voice fell silent, but her breath lingered in the air, disturbing the tranquility of the lake waters. She said after a moment, as if reminding him, but you know it is forbidden in all the laws of the earth and the rules of the heavens. He stood up there, carrying his daughter in his arms, and said as he walked away with her, yes, I know.